And that's a great example of innovation. I think one of the many examples in Amesbury under your leadership. I want to just quickly talk about a part of Amesbury. I don't get there too often, as you know, but I do go more than you think. And one of the things that, just a quick talk on, is what I refer to as Amesbury's downtown. I don't know if that's what you call it, but it is a wonderful, wonderful downtown. I mean, truly something to be proud of. Great restaurants, and it looks to me like a very vibrant downtown, and I know you've had a pretty big hand in that. Why don't you talk about that downtown a little bit?
Sure, sure. The downtown really is made of two components, the upper mill yard and the lower mill yard. Again, Amesbury's built on a slope. Because of the river and the waterfall right there that was the power generation for all the mill buildings in that area. Through the work in the past, before my time, Amesbury made the wise investments. Mayor Nick Costello, the first mayor of Amesbury, brought in a lot of enhancements to the downtown in conjunction with road work improvements. Joe Fahey, he was the economic development director then, he is still now, he's been 30 years there, had a big hand in bringing in the renovation to all the mill buildings. And so the restaurants and the shops have come in, and they've been doing very well. I mean, you can go to downtown Amesbury and make a decision there what type of restaurant food you want to do. You've got all kinds of options. And it's been very successful. And people coming back who haven't been there a long time are amazed by it. Then you have the lower mill yard, which is not yet seen its potential. It's actually the larger part of the downtown. And so right now, my investments are we have the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit Authority building a new transportation center right there. And the beauty of it is it's mostly paid for by federal funding. It's an 11,000 square foot building. They only are going to use 1,000 square feet for the bus terminal portion of it. The concept is they lease out the rest of it. The city of Amesbury is going to take the lease on it, and we're moving our senior center there, and we're moving in the rest of our health and human services functions, the veteran agent and the health nurse and the youth director, all co-located with a transportation hub. And that's going to generate a lot of new activity for the lower mill yard. The other component is we're going to expand the parking garage in there, and currently our DPW facility is right there in the middle of it. Not a pretty sight. We're moving them out into another part of the city. And that whole lower mill yard with all the mill buildings, we've identified with the private property owners of the expectation of over $50 million of new development. The beauty of that is the new growth revenue from that new development will exceed the debt service costs of our investment in order to make that all happen. And so that's how I've described in Amesbury, where we're going to deal with our infrastructure challenges and dealing with the high taxes by having that new growth that's going to take the burden off the residential property taxes.
It's a great spot, and I say that sincerely. My wife and I try to get there as much as we can because it is wonderful. A whole group of restaurants that are great. Let's talk a little bit while we have some time about the finances. Maybe not the most sexy thing to talk about, but something that if you don't get right, everything else falls by the wayside. And I know that you had some political fights up there about a unitary tax rate. And you also haven't always seen eye to eye with maybe old municipal councils. But you've gotten it done, and you've gotten it done in a big way. I mean, how did you do it?
Well, for one, my first 2 years in office, I had a hostile city council, and they were going to save the taxpayers' money by splitting the rate. And in Amesbury, with the restaurants and the shops, that a lot of mom and pop shops, the impact of that was going to drive them out. You reduce residential taxes by growing the commercial industrial base, and that's what we need to do. So a new council came in on that precept, and we were able to go back to a single tax rate. What we were able to achieve in the last several years through, working with AIMSTAT and innovation and regionalizing services like the regional health department we created, we've been able to drive down our operational costs. We've lowered our operating budget 2 years in a row without losing services during the worst economic time. So what we've been able to achieve is we've taken financially a city that had really no free cash to over $1 million free cash, and as a $50 million operation, that's a good amount. We want more.
Significant, yes.
That is stabilization fund from next to nothing to over $1 million in stabilization funds, and be able to create. We've been at the levy limit for many, many years, and just last year able to increase our levy capacity, basically the amount of taxes that we're not using, by over $1 million in 1 year. So basically that built us a $3 million cushion for whatever's coming for this next fiscal year. And the biggest impact is 2/3 of all of our residents have seen a tax decrease this year. 2/3 of all the residents' property taxes have gone down because of all the things that we've been doing.
I mean, that's a fantastic story. You were talking about your bio, and one of the things you talked about was working with the regional coalition,
yes.
the Metro Mayors.
Yep.
And now, as you became mayor of Amesbury, this region essentially didn't really have a full-blown effort at regional cooperation. Why don't we talk a little bit about where we've gone
yes.
from that point to where we're at today?
Well, having the experience of putting together those other mayor coalitions, as mayor, it was my goal. We need one in our region. The first phone call I made was to you, yeah. Knowing, again, both of us coming in at the same time, but knowing, having Methuen in there and Haverhill and Amesbury and Newburyport, and that, by working together, by just the creative discussions that we have as we compare what our challenges are, as well as our success stories.
Yes.
And be able to work off each other has worked really well. And I compliment your leadership and helping to pull it together and making it work.
I think it's the future, and I know that we did talk about it, and you were as deeply committed as anybody, and the experience that you brought in was invaluable, and of course our old friend Dennis DeZoglio
yes.
through the planning agency does a wonderful job too. Let's talk a little bit for the time we have left. I know there are a whole bunch of state issues, and of course, as you mentioned earlier, you work for the MMA, but you're still, as a mayor now, exceedingly active in leadership roles with Mass Municipal. Obviously, I'm going to ask you about
yes.
healthcare plan design. What about healthcare plan design? Why haven't we seen it? And do you think that we're going to see some progress on it in this legislative session?
I am absolutely hoping we see some action on it from the legislature this year. We absolutely need it, as you and I know. Healthcare costs are the biggest budget buster that's going right now. For Amesbury, it's a $5 million line item growing at 13% rate. You can't sustain that given the way revenues are going. So we absolutely need change. And so, along with yourself, advocating for more control for us to be able to make changes to the health plans, the co-pays and deductibles. And when the reality is, and when I'm dealing with my unions and discussing this, is the reality is not only do the city and the taxpayers save money by making changes, most of the employees save money in the deal.
Yes.
Because, it's lowering the overall premium costs of healthcare. And the biggest challenge, the hump to get over, is the understanding that by raising the copay or the money out of your pocket when you do a visit, lowers the amount that we're deducting from your paycheck every payroll. And that when you do the math, for most people, it will go down. For the folks that it will increase are those who are heavy users of the system. And that you look at that's a fairness issue.
Yes.
Of using it. But to me, the biggest challenge, it's an education issue for the employees. But the challenge that we're working, the big challenge is the structure of the law, where you need to get every single union to vote in favor of changing health plans.
Yep.
Changing health plans is a complex issue. It's a scary issue for people. And I have 7 unions on the city side I have to negotiate with, so I ask anybody, put 7 adults in a room and have them unanimously agree as to what restaurant they want to go to. They will be famished before they can all agree. Imagine trying to get every union to agree to a change on health plans, and that's the challenge. Is the mechanism to make change.
Well, we have a minute left. Do you have any last pitch? Do you want to make a pitch for people to go to Amesbury downtown and eat? Though we'd like them to stay in Methuen too. But we have a minute left, Thatcher. So give us one last 30-second bite at the apple here.
Well, I would say absolutely, yeah. Come to Amesbury and see what's going on. Bring your kayaks on your roof when you do come, because we have a lot of rivers and lakes. So we have the vibrant downtown scene, lots of folks, lots of activities, and we have a lot of the sort of the open space, natural areas that people come to. So it's just a really great community to come to visit. And the next time you and your wife come, I better get a phone call.
We will. We're going to try and stick you with the check, but but we will call you, and I keep promising we'll do lunch up there. It's a wonderful community, and I want to thank you for taking the time to come out today to Methuen. It's always a pleasure to have you. This man has done great work in Amesbury, and I know you're going to do some more fantastic work before you're done as mayor, which hopefully won't be for a few years. Yeah. So thank you for being here, Thatcher. Until the next time, we will see you again. Thank you for tuning in.